If you thought Aston Martin was quietly preparing for the next Formula One era, think again. Recent updates reveal that they are assembling a team that could be far more serious than most people expected. While Lance Stroll's past performances haven't exactly set the world on fire, the latest remarks from the team's new principal, Andy Cowell, paint a different picture. With Fernando Alonso showing no clear signs of retiring after 2026, it's starting to look like Aston Martin and Honda could be real threats in the upcoming seasons. Even more fascinating is how key figures like Adrian Newey and Honda's growing involvement might reshape the team's destiny. There's no question that Aston Martin carries enormous potential, but with it comes a thick layer of uncertainty about what lies ahead once the new rules kick in. Despite how tough it might be to believe, the team is putting its full trust in Alonso and Stroll. While it makes perfect sense to bet on someone as seasoned as Alonso, thinking that Stroll could become championship material still feels like a stretch, especially considering how things have unfolded so far. Andy Cowell hasn't been shy about showing his confidence in the current lineup. In fact, he went as far as saying that the team is fortunate to have both drivers. It's easy to understand such praise for a two-time world champion like Alonso. But when it comes to Stroll, it becomes a bit harder to agree. After all, this is the same driver who spun out during a formation lap in Brazil, turning into an easy target for jokes across the paddock. Credit where it's due. Lance Stroll has reached Formula One, the most competitive stage in motorsports. Yet, it's impossible to ignore the role his father played in securing that spot. Without Lawrence Stroll's heavy investment and influence, Lance's path into F1 would have looked very different. Meanwhile, when Cowell speaks about Alonso, the admiration is obvious. He highlights Alonso's ability to offer smart suggestions that often leave the team wondering why they hadn't thought of them before. Alonso's impact isn't limited to setting up the car. His competitive spirit and constant hunger for improvement fuel the team's ambitions. However, when it comes to Lance Stroll, the situation feels very different. Even though Andy Cowell praised his youth, hunger, and feedback, it's hard to believe he's truly convinced by those words. Cowell did highlight the most important qualities he sees in his drivers, but looking at Aston Martin's performance, the picture isn't very bright. Compared to last season, the team seems to have moved backwards, and not just slightly. Aston Martin's 2025 campaign still isn't over, but it's clear that their current focus might already be shifting toward the 2026 regulations. Given their struggles this year, it makes sense. New upgrades are expected to be introduced in the coming weeks, and with better development tools now available, Aston Martin has a chance to test some major changes. For Lawrence Stroll, these upgrades will answer two important questions: whether his massive investment is finally starting to pay off, and whether the team can be competitive again in the short term. Still, it's hard to ignore the reality that Aston Martin has fallen so far back that one can't help but wonder if they might need outside help, especially from someone like Adrian Newey. Part of the struggle comes down to the feedback, or lack of it, from their drivers, particularly Lance Stroll. Adrian has always spoken highly of Fernando Alonso, fully aware of what a two-time world champion can bring to a team. However, the same cannot be said for Lance. This could make it quite challenging for Lawrence Stroll to convince someone of Newey's caliber to get more involved in their 2025 project. Shifting focus for a moment, Lance Stroll has recently set an unwanted record, the highest number of Q1 exits in Formula One history. This has become a major point of discussion during his time with Aston Martin. Even though Lance tried to defend himself by claiming that other top drivers would also struggle in his car, the comparison didn't exactly help his case. In the end, Aston Martin's decision to stand by Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso might be costing them something far greater: the chance to sign Max Verstappen. A four-time world champion like Verstappen could completely transform the team, much like he has done with Red Bull, often delivering outstanding results even when the car wasn't the absolute fastest. Just imagine the potential if Aston Martin provided him with top-level machinery, paired with resources like Adrian Newey and Honda's backing. Yet when it comes to Alonso, retirement after 2026 is still uncertain. Both Alonso and the team plan to evaluate things season by season after that point. Alonso himself has said that while he's highly motivated now, he can't promise the same energy for another 3 or 4 years. That's why they agreed on a contract only until the end of 2026, choosing to keep things flexible moving forward. Alonso also mentioned that his relationship with Lawrence and Lance Stroll is strong enough that they can sit down and have honest discussions about what's best for the team when the time comes. However, this situation brings a tough reality. While Newey is fully concentrating on the 2026 project, ignoring the current season completely, he is still drawing a salary rumored to be around $33 million a year. For Lawrence Stroll, this might be a bitter pill to swallow, especially considering how much that money could impact the team's development for 2025 if redirected properly. But again, shifting focus away from 2026 would be the last thing Aston Martin wants right now. After all, that year marks the beginning of a new era, and sacrificing long-term success for short-term gains would be a risky move. Adding to this, if Aston Martin finishes outside the top 5 in this year's Constructors' Championship, they will benefit from more wind tunnel time, which could be a major advantage for Newey's 2026 work. Despite all the challenges, Aston Martin has yet to finalize its approach for the 2026 season. Honda has expressed its intent to have a say in the driver lineup, despite Aston Martin's focus on keeping the current duo. While the team ultimately makes the final decision, much like Red Bull's arrangement with Honda, the Japanese manufacturer will ensure its opinions are heard. This raises the question of whether Aston Martin's current strategy will be enough to hold off major changes, or if external factors will influence the decisions moving forward. With Honda's input, the stakes are higher, and the future of their driver lineup is now tied to more than just internal politics. But what do you think about Aston Martin's stance on their drivers? Do you believe their approach will pay off? Or will the absence of a top-tier driver like Verstappen haunt them if Alonso continues his partnership beyond 2026? As Aston Martin looks ahead to 2026 and beyond, the team is at a crossroads. With a strong foundation in Alonso and Stroll, they have the potential to challenge for higher positions, but they are also battling against time and changing regulations. While the Stroll family's influence continues to play a key role in the team's decisions, it's clear that to reach the next level, Aston Martin might need more than just loyalty and ambition. The involvement of experienced figures like Newey and the input from Honda could shape their future, but whether they can make the leap into serious championship contention remains to be seen. So, what do you think? Can Aston Martin make it work with their current lineup? Or will their refusal to sign a top driver like Verstappen eventually cost them? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out the next video popping up on your screen now.